Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Filament Health's channel, The Future of Psychedelics. Joining us, as always, CEO Ben Lightburn. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Living the dream as always. So we got quite a few things I want to go over today, but I just want to re-shout out that Filament announces the DTC eligibility and got approved for the uplist to the OTCQB, which we touched on last time. And those tickers again on the OTCQB is FLHLF, and on the NEO exchange is FH. But today I kind of want to dive down into the financials, talk a little bit more about the broader view of kind of like the capital structure of the business. So we only recently had the interim filings from a couple months ago. You recently said you're kind of working on the new interim filings coming out, but we'll touch base based off what we have here, because you guys in that last filing had over 20 million in assets, 7.8 million of that being cash, no debt. Is there anything you want to touch base on first with the balance sheet?
Yeah, I think the balance sheet, at least at that time, put us in a very comfortable position to expand our operations, pay for certain clinical trials, and give us good runway to accomplish all of our near and medium term objectives.
Can you touch base a little bit on like the capital expenditures here when you're talking about these trials? How long can this cash extend for? Because you guys are just heading into phase 1 on some of these.
So it's a really good question. Obviously, rigorous pharmaceutical grade clinical trial research is expensive. We have 2 clinical trials that we're about to start paying for. In fact, the phase 1 trial, the cost on that's going to be about $1 million Canadian, and then a phase 2 trial, which is about 3 times as expensive as that. So the cash that we have on hand, and again, speaking as if we were at the last financial statements, give us about 12 months of runway, including clinical trial expenditures.
That's pretty good. So I just want to ask real quickly too, because you guys are like almost vertically integrating the entire process, unlike a lot of the other psychedelic companies. I mean, you guys are going from growing, extracting, purification, distribution. Is this something you're purely trying to keep in-house with your own pipeline, or is this something you're willing to kind of extend out to other companies that may want access?
It's a really good question. And yeah, to expand on your point, we are vertically integrated. So we grow our own magic mushrooms in-house. We extract them in-house. We purify them in-house. We, in fact, produce the final formulations in-house. It's all done through our wholly owned subsidiary called Silo Scientific. We then ship those products to, for now, only to clinical trial research, because there's obviously not any legal market, at least in North America, for these substances. But having all of this capability in-house, you're right, it does allow us to have conversations with other parties, both academic and commercial parties, to supply them with our clinical trial research drugs. And we are, I'm happy to say, in negotiations with a number of different academic and commercial parties for a supply and licensing type arrangement, where we can supply not just the drugs themselves, but remember, since our clinical trial candidates actually have a significant amount of IP around them, these arrangements need to have some kind of IP licensing and eventual royalty payment scheme attached to them. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question of, is essentially, yes, we are actively negotiating, partnering, and potentially generating some revenue from third-party clinical trials.
That's absolutely incredible insights, actually. I love hearing this. So kind of just pivoting a little bit, kind of going back into the capital structure of the business. Do you mind touching base a little bit on like the insider ownership versus retail versus institutional, just to kind of give a scope of these shares outstanding?
So then the interesting thing about Filament is that myself and other co-founders, because we had some previous success building and scaling, and in fact selling a botanical extraction company, we were able to self-fund the business for the first at least year of operations. And what that has led to is a very high degree of insider ownership. We're about 65% held by insiders. I myself hold about 48% of the company as it currently stands. And what's attractive about that, obviously, is that we're all very much aligned with all the other shareholders. Interestingly as well, also, we've only had a relatively small participation up to this point by institutional investors. Really, the appetite and success has been driven by, in the early rounds, friends and families from our personal networks, and then mostly retail support going forward. So I would say probably less than 5% institutional, and then the rest retail, with the majority being obviously insiders.
Well, Ben, I appreciate these insights today. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
In light of this, folks, if you ever have any questions, let us know what you think in the comment section below, and we can bring them up to Ben in a follow-up interview. But in light of this, stay cool, stay awesome, and we'll catch you in the next one.